Have you ever had the strange feeling that you're not really living your life, but instead playing a role in someone else's play? Like you're wearing a mask, performing for the world, but deep inside, you know, this isn't really you. If you've ever felt that, then stay with me because what I'm about to share may change the way you see yourself forever. This isn't just psychology. This is the hidden path Carl Jung left behind for those who are ready to discover their true self. And yes, most people will never even hear about it. But since you're here, you will. Let me start with something that sounds almost too simple to be true. Most of us don't live as ourselves. We live as characters. You wake up, you put on your work self. You go out, you put on your social self. And when you're with family, you put on your acceptable self. The problem? The real you, the raw, unfiltered, untamed version, gets buried so deep you almost forget it exists. Jung called this false self the persona, your social mask, and he warned that the longer you live as this mask, the more you'll start to lose connection with your true essence. Imagine a method actor who never drops the role. One day he wakes up and can't even remember who he was before the performance. That's us. But Jung didn't stop there. He discovered that deep within us, behind the masks and the roles, lies something extraordinary. Something he called the self. Not the little self that likes pizza or hates traffic, but the capital S self. The full, whole, infinite version of you that you've forgotten. And Jung believed your entire life is secretly a quest to return to this self. Think about that. Beneath all the noise, the goals, the achievements, the struggles, the real hidden path of your life is trying to bring you back to yourself. Now, before you think this is just philosophy, let me tell you about an experiment that proves how little of ourself we actually know. Back in the late 20th century, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet ran a famous experiment where participants had to move their fingers while their brain activity was being measured. Shockingly, the brain showed activity milliseconds before the participants consciously decided to move. In simple terms, your unconscious knew what you were going to do before you did. Jung would have smiled at this. Why? Because he always said the unconscious runs most of your life until you make it conscious. Otherwise, as he warned, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This is why Jung's hidden path isn't about adding something new to yourself. It's about peeling away everything that isn't you. The lies, the conditioning, the roles. Imagine your mind like a dusty mirror. You've spent years collecting dust. Beliefs that aren't yours, opinions shoved down your throat, the image society told you to maintain. Jung's path is about cleaning that mirror, bit by bit, until what you finally see staring back at you is you. Not the mask, not the persona, but the authentic self. But here's the tricky part. To find your true self, you have to meet your shadow. And trust me, your shadow isn't the cute kind. Jung described the shadow as the hidden parts of yourself you reject. The anger you deny, the jealousy you hide, the desires you suppress. All the things you pretend aren't there. The more you suppress them, the stronger they become, lurking in the dark corners of your psyche. Want proof? Look at cancel culture. People scream at others online for traits they can't accept in themselves. Jung would say, that's projection. The things you hate most in others often reveal the things you've buried in yourself. Here's the funny part though. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's actually your key. If you have the courage to face it, integrate it and own it, your shadow transforms into power. For example, maybe you've always suppressed your anger because society told you it's bad. But that same anger, when integrated, becomes strength, boundaries, passion. The thing you fear most about yourself might actually be the thing that frees you. Jung's hidden path requires walking straight into the cave you fear, Because as Joseph Campbell said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And speaking of caves, let's get real for a moment. Most of us are terrified of ourselves. That's why we scroll endlessly, binge shows, and distract ourselves, because silence is dangerous. In silence, the real you starts knocking. And if you ignore it long enough, you'll feel a gnawing emptiness, like something is missing. That's yourself calling you back. Ever wonder why midlife crises happen? It's not about sports cars. It's about the unconscious screaming, "Wake up, you've been living as someone else." Jung said the first half of life is building the persona. The second half, if you're brave enough, is tearing it down to rediscover yourself. Let me lighten it up with a little humor. Imagine you've been playing Monopoly your whole life, taking it dead seriously. You're fighting over fake money, furious about Boardwalk, crying when you land in jail. Then one day, Jung walks in, flips the board, and says, "Hey, it was just a game. You're not the token, you're the player." That's what finding your true self feels like. You suddenly realize all these roles, these dramas, these identities, they're temporary games. You are more than the role you're playing. But here's the thing. Finding your true self isn't a one-time event. It's a process Jung called individuation. It's the journey of integrating all the fragmented parts of yourself, the conscious, the unconscious, the shadow, the persona, the archetypes, until you become whole. It's like gathering all the puzzle pieces of your psyche and finally seeing the full picture. Most people live as one corner of the puzzle, mistaking it for the whole. But once you've gone through individuation, you realize you are vast, multi-layered, infinite. Now, let's connect this to something you've actually experienced. Have you ever had a dream so vivid it felt more real than waking life? Jung believed dreams weren't random nonsense. They're messages from the unconscious, coded letters from the parts of yourself you've ignored. Maybe you dream of being chased, your shadow demanding recognition. Maybe you dream of flying, yourself reminding you of your forgotten freedom. If you pay attention, your dreams can guide you back to your true self. Jung even said, "The dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul." Science is slowly catching up to this. Modern sleep research shows that during REM sleep, the brain processes emotions and memories, helping us integrate experiences. In a way, your brain is literally doing Jung's individuation work while you sleep. So the next time you wake up from a bizarre dream, don't dismiss it. Ask, what is my unconscious trying to tell me? But here's where it gets even deeper. Jung believed we're all connected by what he called the collective unconscious, a vast shared reservoir of archetypes and symbols that all humans carry. That's why myths, symbols, and stories repeat across cultures and time. The hero's journey, the wise old man, the shadow figure, they show up everywhere, from ancient myths to Marvel movies. Why? Because they're not just stories, they're reflections of your inner world. The hero you admire on screen is the hero inside you, waiting to be awakened. And maybe that's the most important point. Jung's hidden path isn't just about self-discovery. It's about realizing you are part of something much bigger. You are not a random accident, not just flesh and neurons. You are a living symbol, part of humanity's story, carrying within you the entire history of the human soul. The moment you see this, life changes. Challenges become lessons, shadows become guides, and you, finally, come home to yourself. Now, I'll be honest with you. Most people will never walk this path. They'll stay trapped in their masks, living as roles until the very end. But you don't have to. If you're listening to this right now, maybe life is nudging you. Maybe this is your invitation to pause, to question, to face your shadow, to pay attention to your dreams, to peel off the mask. and to start the lifelong adventure of individuation. So let me leave you with this. You are not who you think you are. You are far more. And if you dare to look within, to face the darkness, to integrate the hidden parts, you'll discover something extraordinary. You'll discover that the self you've been searching for has been there all along, quietly waiting for you to come home. And hey, before you disappear back into the noise of the internet, I want you to do something for me. No, for yourself. If this video sparked even a small shift in how you see yourself, drop a comment telling me what part hit you the hardest. Share it, not for the algorithm, but because your words might be the spark for someone else who's lost in their mask. And if you want to keep walking this hidden path with me, hit that like button not as a mindless click, but as a small act of saying a yes, I'm ready to peel the mask. And subscribe, not to follow me, but to follow yourself, because every video we share here is another step on the journey back to the real you. The mask is heavy, the self is waiting, and the choice is yours.